I and 99 other people were accidentally thrown into a poppers game, where the winner will get a $1 million prize. But the rule is, you only have 50 yuan to survive for 7 days. If it were you, how would you manage to survive? But as a professional popper myself, I found a loophole in the game the moment I saw the rules. Soon, the system's electronic voice rang out. Welcome, 100 players, to the poppers game. Rule 1. Starting capital is 50 yuan. The goal is to survive in the game for 7 days. The winner will receive a $1 million prize. Overspending, dying, or leaving the game area will all be considered elimination, and you will be saddled with a $1 million debt. The voice paused, a hint of slyness in its tone. Are there any cowards who want to quit now? Are you kidding me? I can survive for 7 days just by drinking water. Beside me, a chubby kid in a cheap t-shirt chimed in, 50 yuan for steamed buns and pickles? If you're frugal, that's more than enough. Take a gamble and turn your bike into a motorcycle. Only a fool would quit. The crowd was buzzing, filled with a blind excitement. Very good, none of the 100 players have quit. The game rules are now in effect. Players can no longer withdraw. 100 players have been deployed. Welcome to Lost at the Airport. I wish you all the best of luck. With a flash of white light before my eyes, I found myself in a modern airport. The terminal was so long I couldn't see the end of it. Crowds of people bustled back and forth. It was impossible to tell who was a player and who was an NPC. And in my game account, there was the starting capital of 50 yuan. At the same time, 3 stats appeared on my interface: hunger, thirst, and energy. Right now, all 3 stats were full. I saw a convenience store across the way, so I went over to check out the prices. As I walked up to the refrigerator, a cry of shock, tinged with tears, suddenly erupted. What the hell? 15 yuan for a bottle of water? This is a robbery. I walked over. My eyes swept over the shelves, and my heart sank. A small cake was 53, a sandwich was 40, and a single steamed bun was 10 yuan. Even the cheapest bag of soda crackers was 18 yuan. At a daily budget of about 7 yuan. That's not even enough for half a bottle of water. The chubby kid looked at me, his face filled with despair. Number 66, it's over, it's all over. This is only enough money for 3 bottles of water. We'll die within a week. I sighed. The system isn't a charity. I knew it wouldn't be this simple. Other players also flocked to the convenience store, their faces also showing shock and panic. The chubby kid pulled me aside and said, Number 66, I'm player number 44, Wu Kai. Let's team up. If anyone bullies you, I'll fight them. He then performed a set of grappling moves. He seemed pretty agile, but before I figured out the rules of the game, I didn't want to team up with anyone. So I politely declined and left the convenience store alone. First things first, I needed to find free water. I found a water fountain outside the restroom. Next to it, I found 2 discarded plastic water bottles. I washed them out and then filled both bottles to the brim. Water situation, sorted, cost, 0 yuan. Next up is getting some energy. I spotted a coffee shop. On the condiment counter, packets of white sugar, creamer pods, and brown sugar packets were neatly arranged. Sugar is a very important source of energy. The sugar packets can be used in an emergency to prevent low blood sugar. I walked over, my face expressionless. My movements were as natural and smooth as if I were grabbing something from my own home. 12 packets of sugar and a few containers of creamer slid into my pocket in an instant. The whole process took less than 2 seconds. Then I calmly walked out of the coffee shop and found a deserted corner. I tore open 2 packets of sugar and poured them all into my mouth. The sweetness instantly exploded in my mouth, bringing a wave of false satisfaction. Sugar, secured, cost, 0 yuan. The airport's air conditioning was cranked up, making it feel like an icebox. Maybe the system did it on purpose. The colder it is, the faster you burn energy. And my thin clothes offered no protection from the cold. I could only move around to stay warm. In a trash can, I found a blanket someone had thrown away after their flight. As time went on, the hunger grew more and more intense. At 8 p.m., I wandered over to a bakery. Through the glass window, the unsold bread gave off a tempting, weedy aroma. My stomach let out a loud growl. I made a judgment based on my sharp, popper's intuition. The bread should be discounted by now. A loaf of toast, originally 30, now only costs 15. But that's not good enough. The discount might be even bigger at closing time. It might even be free. Every penny saved is a chance to survive. I sat on a chair across from the bakery, resting with my eyes half closed. At that moment, 20 or 30 figures swarmed from all directions. They rushed frantically towards the bakery. The small bakery entrance was instantly mobbed. In the chaos, I saw someone waving cash. Someone reached out to snatch bread directly from the shelves. A panicked employee was yelling for people to line up. Line up. but it was completely useless. In just a few short minutes, all the discounted bread on the shelves, including the toast I had my eye on, was completely cleared out. Those who managed to buy something had expressions of post-disaster relief, while those who didn't were stomping their feet in frustration. Their eyes filled with despair, complaints and desperate sighs. By now, my hunger level had already dropped by 10%. I took a deep breath, suppressing the cramps in my stomach. My gaze shifted from the chaotic crowd up towards the airport's high ceiling. A huge flight information screen. Red flight statuses were constantly scrolling by. It was time to show my real skills. In this airport, players can move freely to any location. Even without a ticket, you can go to the boarding gates. I quickly scanned the large screen and precisely locked onto a few delayed flights marked in bold red. The ones delayed for more than 6 hours were my target prey, so I dragged my weak legs towards a boarding gate. A small group of people had already gathered there. The air was thick with anxiety and the smell of sweat. Gate 102 had been delayed for 8 hours. The stranded passengers had surrounded the ground staff. The staff member was a young woman, her face flushed red. The passenger's spit was practically flying in her face. "Hey, is your airline useless or what? My child is crying from hunger. Are you going to do anything about it? Compensation, we must be compensated. Give me my money back right now." The scene was chaotic, and the ground staff girl's voice was drowned out by the noise. She was so frantic she was about to cry. I suddenly realized this was an opportunity. I pushed my way to the center of the crowd with all my might. I stood in front of the ground staff girl. "Quiet," I roared with all my strength. The crowd was shocked into silence by this sudden turn of events. I pointed at the mother holding a crying child. I yelled to all the passengers, "Look, just look at how much the child is crying. Is arguing our heads off here going to make the plane fly? The airline is in the wrong. They have to be held responsible. But what do we need most right now? Food, a place to rest. We need to conserve our energy to fight them to the very end." I turned to the ground staff girl, who was on the verge of a breakdown, and spoke rapidly. "Everyone is agitated. The most urgent task is to appease the passengers. Hand out the meal and hotel vouchers right now. Let everyone eat first. Get them settled. Otherwise, if this blows up, can you take the responsibility? I've been telling them. Meal and hotel vouchers are available, but they're refusing them." The ground staff girl said, feeling wronged. "Everyone, please line up. You can get them according to your boarding pass. At a time like this, you're still talking about procedures?" I cut her off, pointing at the mother holding her child. "Look how tired this mother is. She's been holding her baby for 8 hours, and you still want her to line up for your meal voucher?" I turned to the mother and said, "Ma'am, give me your boarding pass. I'll get it for you." I held out my hand with an air of unquestionable authority. As if grabbing a lifeline, the mother immediately stuffed her boarding pass into my hand. Someone taking the lead, the effect was immediate. A few other passengers with elderly people or children, or those who looked particularly exhausted, also started shoving their boarding passes into my hand. "Get one for me, please." "Me too." In an instant, I was holding more than 10 boarding passes. I turned to the ground staff and held the passes out in front of her. I lowered my voice, "Hurry. Solve the most urgent cases first. It's better than this ending up on the news, right? Give me a couple of extra meal vouchers, and I'll help you calm these people with children down. It's a way out for everyone." The ground staff girl looked at me gratefully and quickly worked the machine. Soon, she brought out a stack of meal vouchers, counting out the ones that matched the boarding passes in my hand. Then she quickly pulled out 2 more, mixed them in, and stuffed them into my hand. Her eyes showed a hint of gratitude. Success. My heart pounded in my chest. But my face remained impassive. "Ma'am, here's yours. Take your baby and go eat." "Here you go, sir." I quickly distributed the corresponding meal vouchers and boarding passes back to them, my movement swift. Finally, I clutched the 2 extra meal vouchers and stuffed them into my innermost pocket. I yelled to the crowd, "Everyone, get your vouchers and go eat first. Rest and conserve your energy. We'll settle the score with them later." As the crowd's attention shifted to getting vouchers, I slipped out of the crowd like a slick loach. I disappeared into the bustling terminal corridor. If you want to survive in this game, you have to be better at exploiting loopholes than the average person. Just as I left the departure lounge, I saw Wu Kai again. He said with a warm, yet pitying smile, "Number 66, I saw your skills. You were negotiating just now like a big shot from a movie. Are you really not considering an alliance with us? We might need to help each other later on, you know." In just one day, he actually had 4 more players by his side. I still refused his invitation and used my meal voucher to eat my fill. My hunger meter was temporarily full, but a wave of exhaustion washed over me. My energy level has already dropped below 50%. It's now 8 p.m. The flow of people in the airport had clearly thinned out. Most of the shops were starting to close. The lights also grew dim, and an indescribable, terrifying atmosphere began to spread. Chairs in the terminal all had armrests, preventing people from lying down flat. A young player, probably unable to hold out any longer, was curled up on the floor in a thin jacket, trying to sleep. Barely 2 minutes passed before a bright light was shown precisely on his face. "Get up, you're not allowed to lie down here." The security guard's voice was devoid of emotion. The young player ignored this NPC, rolled over, and continued to sleep. Suddenly, a group of security guards rushed out from a corner without any explanation. They forcibly lifted him up and threw him out of the airport's main entrance. An announcement came over the public game screen. Player number 13 has been eliminated for leaving the game area. Debt: 1 million. Immediately after, players in other areas were eliminated in the same way. The system is using exhaustion and cold to squeeze out the last shred of the player's sanity. By this time, my energy level was already critically low. To avoid being eliminated, I covered myself with my tattered blanket and fell asleep sitting on a chair in the waiting hall. The rising sun the next day told us that only one day of the game had passed. My energy level barely crawled back to 15%, but my hunger meter had dropped to 50% again. I still had 1 meal voucher. I wasn't too worried. I drank some cold water, 2 packets of sugar, and continued to hunt for opportunities in the departures hall. A player suddenly rushed over and snatched a hot dog from a child's hand. The child then burst into tears, and security guards rushed over when they heard the commotion. They surrounded the player and escorted him into a police car outside the airport. And at that moment, the system announcement sounded again. Player number 25 has been thrown out of the airport by security for snatching food from an NPC. Eliminated. Debt: 1 million. I figured something out. In this airport, you can't do anything that will attract the attention of the security guards. However, the airport was strange today. Not a single flight was delayed. I suspected that the loophole I was exploiting had probably been patched by the system. That day, I wandered around the hall like a regular passenger, showing up at every shop that had free samples. Of course, I only ate and didn't buy anything. While I was sampling, I watched the clerk's expression. After he noticed I was only eating and not buying, he would quickly run away. I managed to get by like this until the evening. For dinner, I used my remaining meal voucher and filled up my hunger meter again. Today, my energy level dropped even lower. This time, I didn't choose to make do on a chair. I slipped into a dimly lit side corridor. At the end of it was a prime spot I had discovered during the day. An abandoned equipment room with its door ajar. It was filled with junk inside, but once the door was closed, it was its own little world. I had just stepped into the equipment room, and before I could shut the door tightly, there was a loud bang. Someone kicked the equipment room door open. A tall man with upturned eyes walked in, and following behind him were 2 of his lackeys. "This place is ours now," the tall guy roared at me. I vaguely recognized the tall guy. He was the most aggressive one at the bakery yesterday. He even snatched the bread right out of 2 players' hands. I knew I was no match for him. I decided to give up this prime spot. Just as I got to the equipment room door, the tall guy suddenly pulled out a knife and threatened, "Hand over all the money and food you have left, or I'll kill you." The madness and cruelty in their eyes told me they would absolutely do it. My mind started racing. I stood no chance if I fought them head on, but giving up my money meant being eliminated and be saddled with a $1 million debt. What do I do? What do I do? I swallowed hard and said, "Hey man, let's just talk about this. System will eliminate you for robbery. Less talk, hurry up." I'm running out of patience. The fruit knife pressed deeper against my neck. I gave up resisting and decisively transferred the $50 in my account to him. Only by staying alive in the game could I possibly earn that 1 million. Once he got the money, the tall guy shoved me out. They shut the door, and I heard their gloating voices from inside. Robbing people directly is so effective. It's a good thing he told us we wouldn't get eliminated for it. Now we won't have to worry about running out of money. Who was this they were talking about? Robbing NPCs is against the rules, but robbing, or even killing, other players is fair game. Who knew the rules of the game so intimately? We're only on the 2nd day. And just like that, I'd lost my only $50. No money, no food. Was I just supposed to wait here to die? A moment later, an anonymous message appeared on the public channel. "Hurry to the bakery in Sector A, floor L3. The bread here is half price." The equipment room door opened, and the tall guy walked out with his lackeys. I quickly hid to the side and then followed them towards the convenience store. 3 of them used all the money they'd stolen to buy soda crackers. As the electronic sound for a successful payment chimed, the system made a game-wide broadcast. Players number 5, 49, and 61 have been eliminated for overspending and are now saddled with a $1 million debt. The tall guy let out a wail of despair, and before the sound even faded, his whole body vanished into thin air like a flash of light. The remaining 2 cronies also disappeared, and dozens of bags of soda crackers, along with 4 or 5 bags of bread, fell to the ground. I immediately rushed over and took off my outer jacket, wrapping the crackers and bread up tightly. My hunch had been correct. The system had said from the start that overspending would get you eliminated, but everyone only had $50 in their account. How could anyone possibly overspend? There was only one explanation. If you stole another player's money and used it to spend more than your initial $50, that counted as overspending. But when the tall guy snatched bread from others at the bakery, he wasn't eliminated. That means plundering food from others doesn't count. I could already imagine that in the next few days, more people would figure out the rules and start fighting violently over food. That's why I had to hide this food I had on me very well. With all this food, I'd have no problem surviving until the end of the game. So, I found 5 spots that I considered safe and hid the crackers separately in each. By retrieving food from one location each day, I could survive the remaining 5 days. After doing all that, my energy level was already critically low. Soon, I fell asleep again on a chair in the waiting hall. The game entered its 3rd day when a heart-wrenching coughing fit erupted not far away. Instantly drew the eyes of everyone around. It was player 47, that girl who looked so frail. She was curled up on a cold metal bench, her body trembling violently, her face flushed red from coughing, even turning a little purple. Her boyfriend, who was also a player, had a look of disgust on his face. "What's wrong with you? If you have a fever, don't tell me you can't even make it to the 7th day." The girl, player 47, spoke in a hoarse, weak voice, heavy with congestion. "I just suddenly feel so cold and awful. Young, can you please hold me?" "No way. What if I catch it from you?" Suddenly, a sharp alarm blared through the entire terminal without any warning. A set of heavy, rhythmic footsteps approached from a distant corridor. Quarantine staff in white hazmat suits easily hauled player 47 to her feet. "Let me go. I don't want to be eliminated." "Young, help me, help me." But Young didn't even glance at her. He just turned and ran. The quarantine staff ignored player 47's cries, pushing a stretcher as they quickly vanished down the end of the corridor under the horrified gazes of the other players. A few seconds later, the system broadcast announced, "Player 47 has seriously endangered public health and safety. She has been forcibly removed from the game area for quarantine, eliminated with a debt of 1 million yuan. Player 87 has seriously endangered public health and safety and has been forcibly removed from the game area for quarantine, eliminated with a debt of 1 million yuan. The players all stared at each other in dismay. Their eyes were filled with suspicion. Player 87 ate food from the trash yesterday. Today, he has unstoppable diarrhea. You can't have a cold. You can't have diarrhea either. I traded water with the team to get food. Who will be next? The sound of a nearby cough, even if it was just someone clearing their throat, was enough to make my heart pound in my chest. I learned another rule of the game: you cannot get sick. Not even a minor cold or an upset stomach. Any of it will get you removed from the game area. I survived the day on the bread and crackers I had found. The airport was even colder today, like a walk-in freezer. In a trash can, I found a thermal emergency blanket, the kind for hikers. Wrapping it around myself finally kept me warm. Time passed. On the 4th day, more and more people were being eliminated. Waking up at dawn, I decided to go get today's bread and crackers. I carefully avoided the crowds and headed toward the first hiding spot. It was in the gap between the wall and the bottom of a huge planter, behind a remote restroom. As I got closer, I crouched down. I reached into that familiar crevice. It was empty. There was nothing inside. My heart sank. Unwilling to accept it, I carefully felt around one more time. I couldn't even find a crumb from a cracker wrapper. I didn't have time to dwell on it. I ran to the next spot. Nothing. Still nothing. All 4 locations where I'd hidden the crackers had been raided. Dozens of bags of life-saving crackers and bread had vanished overnight without a trace. A situation that was supposed to be a sure win was suddenly and completely turned upside down. To be able to find all my spots so precisely overnight and clean them out without a sound, this was definitely not something an ordinary player could do. Who on earth has been watching me this whole time? My heart just sank to the pit of my stomach. I shamelessly went looking for food samples again, but more and more players were competing for them. Vendors had gotten wary and had hidden all the food samples away. Even the condiment station at the coffee shop was completely empty. The staff had taken all the sugar packets. The trash cans became the new battleground. Many players were still willing to risk getting an upset stomach, rummaging through them for food. By the time I went to look, there weren't even any scraps left. I somehow made it to 10 p.m. All of my stats were in the red. I walked towards a row of luxury brand stores in the airport. Other players were whispering, "This guy's probably about to be eliminated. What could he possibly do in a luxury store?" But in a trash can not far from the luxury stores, I found a few bags and boxes that people had thrown away. Many travelers, in order to avoid taxes, choose to throw the boxes away at the airport before departing. On the 4th day of the game, I carefully stuffed the boxes into the best-looking bag. On the 4th day of the game, before going down to the departure hall on the 1st floor. While scouting the area, I discovered that there was actually a hot pot restaurant open there. So now, I'm going to go get a free place to rest and also get some free food. I pushed open the heavy glass doors, and a wave of warm air and the aroma of butter hot pot broth washed over me. A waitress with a sweet smile trotted over to greet me. "Welcome, sir. How many?" "2, I said, holding the conspicuous luxury shopping bag. I casually placed it on the chair next to me. "Find me a quiet spot. I'm waiting for someone." The waitress's gaze swept over the bag. Her smile grew wider. Of course. Right this way, please. Someone who can buy so many luxury goods is definitely not some broke freeloader." She led me to a semi-private booth with a soft, cushioned sofa. It was very private. As soon as I sat down, I immediately took out my phone. My fingertips flew across the screen as I dialed a number that didn't even exist. The moment the call connected, my voice, thick with emotion, erupted in the relatively quiet area. "I'm waiting for you at the hot pot restaurant in the airport. I bought a ticket to Paris for 3 a.m. If you don't show up, you'll never see me again." I slammed the phone hard on the table, my eyes instantly welling up with tears. The waitress hurried over, carrying a bowl of steaming hot white fungus soup and a small plate of fruit. Her voice was incredibly gentle. "Sir, please calm down. Have something to drink to soothe your throat. Is your girlfriend giving you a hard time?" My voice was thick and nasal. "Thank you. Just the thought of him being with his old flame makes me lose my appetite." The waitress placed the white fungus soup in front of me. "You have to eat, especially when you're upset. How will you have the strength to make him beg for your forgiveness if you don't eat?" I nodded. I took the bowl of soup and began to sip it slowly. The warm, sweet liquid slid down my parched throat. My hunger was roaring, but I had to restrain myself. Soon, the waitress brought over a complimentary bowl of steamed egg. Looking completely dejected, I got up and went to the condiment station. I scooped up 3 heaping spoons of minced beef and quickly dumped them into my steamed egg. I returned to my seat, fighting the urge to devour it all at once, eating in small, elegant bites. All the while, I kept a wary eye on the waitress and the supervisor from the corner of my eye. At that moment, it was as if the waitress had radar. "Sir, you seem to be in a bad mood. Would you like to try our new tomato soup? It's sweet and sour, very appetizing." And so, a bowl of delicious-looking tomato soup was placed in front of me. He brought over some more snacks, followed by a plate of free fries. The waiter came over again, his eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and sympathy. He was clearly more anxious than I was, and alarm bells went off in my head. He was asking too often. I immediately switched my act. Tears welled up in my eyes again, and my voice trembled with despair. Does he really not want me anymore? To be honest, I hadn't planned on leaving. At just the right moment, I lowered my head, and my shoulders began to shake violently. "Oh, dear, don't cry, don't cry." The waiter panicked and immediately brought over a giant stuffed teddy bear. He stuffed it into my arms. "Let him keep you company. You're such a handsome guy. He's definitely going to regret this." As I hugged the fluffy bear, a tidal wave of exhaustion washed over me. My energy was critically low. I had to rest. I secretly set a vibrating alarm for the wee hours of the morning. Then, exhausted, I hugged the bear. I curled up on the soft sofa and closed my eyes. As I drifted off to sleep, I prayed I wouldn't get kicked out. I'm not sure how long I was asleep, but the waiter suddenly woke me up. "Sir, isn't your flight about to take off?" Right on cue, my phone started vibrating like crazy. It was the alarm I'd set. In a flash, I snatched up my phone without even looking at the caller ID. I yelled my prepared line into the phone. "I've waited for you at the hot pot place for 4 hours. Are you still not coming? Is that man really that important? I'm going to leave. I'm really leaving now. Won't you just come see me one last time?" Then I hung up. I buried my face in the teddy bear, and to anyone watching, it looked like I was crying in secret. The manager paused. He shook his head. The waiter thoughtfully brought me a blanket. I slept the entire night on the big sofa. The next morning, as I was preparing to leave, the waiter made a point of bringing me some soy milk, along with congee, tea eggs, and other free food, his eyes full of encouragement. "You've got this, sir. Get away from that toxic girl. You'll find someone better. Congratulations on your new beginning. Since I hadn't ordered anything, of course, I didn't pay. I thanked him quietly, turned, and walked out the glass door. My energy was fully restored, and my hunger meter was full. It was a pretty shameless trick, and one I could only use once. And I had already played that trump card. Soon, the game entered its 5th day. Right as I walked out of the hot pot restaurant, I ran into Wu Kai and his crew. His team had grown to more than 20 people, and they were handing out crackers. The moment I saw the cracker packaging, my mind just exploded. Those were my missing crackers. On every single bag, I had deliberately torn off a corner as a mark. I stormed over, furious. Wu Kai, you stole my crackers. Now, don't be angry. I told you a long time ago you should join my team. You're the one who wouldn't listen. Give me back my crackers. Just take a look at my teammates. You want to trade? HMPH. Wu Kai gestured to the 20-something pairs of eyes behind him. Their eyes were filled with greed. I took the cookie he offered me. I took a step back and asked, is it too late to join you? Number 66, you're too late, Wu Kai said with a slight smile. He had an honest, good-natured look about him. This game was never about fighting alone, right from the start. The only way to survive is to team up and steal resources from other players. You don't have money or food. You're of no use to us. That's why you're being eliminated. Any last words? Just then, the system suddenly issued a new directive. Attention all players. Welcome to Day 5. To make the game more interesting, as of today, all water fountains in the airport will be shut off. The water in the restrooms has been contaminated and is no longer potable. The players couldn't stop themselves from exploding in the public chat. What the hell? Screw you. No water, with 3 days left? They're trying to kill us. Even the players in Wu Chi's group started to get restless. Fear quickly overshadowed the brief joy of their new food. Water is a more crucial commodity than food. Wu Kai, however, wasn't nervous. He raised a hand to quell the unrest. His voice remained steady. What's the panic? It's just water. He shot a sideways glance at me, then continued addressing his players. Other players still have water. All we have to do is take it. My heart plummeted, but it was too late to run. 20-something pairs of bloodshot eyes instantly locked onto me, like hunting dogs that had just caught the scent of blood. They lunged at me. Let go, that's mine. I held onto my backpack for dear life, but I was completely outnumbered. The strap was violently yanked off, and the zipper was torn open. 2 heavy bottles of mineral water were brutally ripped out. The last few packets of sugar I had scattered across the floor and were snatched up in an instant. I was shoved to the ground. Wu Kai said, his voice cold as ice. We're being merciful enough by not killing you. Now, get lost. I scrambled up and ran, but it wasn't to get away from Wu Kai. It was to get to the water. I had to get there before anyone else figured it out. I had to reach that place, the liquid disposal area. Airport security rules state that carry-on liquid containers can't be larger than 100 milliliters. At the security checkpoint, travelers have to toss their mineral water, sodas, juices into the large, specially designated bins or baskets on the side. Right now, at the domestic departure security checkpoint in this terminal, stood 3 half-person high, transparent plastic disposal bins with a shocking capacity. They were stuffed full of half-drunk, and even some unopened, bottles of mineral water. And 2 NPCs, security assistants in uniform, were standing nearby. Just digging through the bins was obviously not an option. It would trigger a security alarm. I couldn't wait any longer. This was a now or never opportunity. I instantly put on a look of extreme anxiety and hurried toward the security checkpoint. My eyes locked on those bins. Excuse me, please let me through. My voice was hoarse and on the verge of tears as I pushed my way through the line. I successfully got the security assistant's attention. Traveler, you need to get in line. One of the assistants frowned and blocked my way. I'm so sorry, sir. I spoke frantically, with real panic in my voice. Pointing at the disposal bin, I said my ring seemed to have fallen in there. It was an heirloom from my grandmother. Please, let me go look for it. Just for a second, I'm begging you. As I spoke, tears started to fall from my eyes. I looked so sincere that the security assistant paused for a moment. He stepped aside. Hurry up, don't hold up the security line. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I immediately lunged for the disposal bin. To avoid disturbing everyone, I pulled the trash bags aside to search through them, and then I quietly lifted 3 bags of trash out of the bin and quickly moved to a spot where the security assistant couldn't see me. Wow, this much water will definitely last me for 3 days. I quickly emptied 1 bag and put the unopened bottles of water inside. I hurried away from the security area, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it would explode. I didn't dare to stop, diving into a nearby relatively secluded accessible restroom and locking the door from the inside. I absolutely cannot let the other players know that I have this much water all to myself. I stood on the toilet and lifted a ceiling panel. I hid some of the water in the ceiling, then came out of the restroom. I found another hiding spot and stashed the remaining water. Then I ran back to the international departures security checkpoint. I pulled the same trick again and got a large amount of water. I hid it well, just like before. It's not that I'm greedy. It's that I have a bigger plan. They were like a plague of locusts, grabbing any player they could to loot their water and food. They wouldn't even spare a single cracker. And if anyone dared to resist, they would kick and beat them, while the NPCs turned a blind eye to their violent acts. No security guards came to stop it. Suddenly, with a thud, player collapsed to the ground from low blood sugar. It wasn't long before they stopped moving. Did he die? Another player asked, shaken. A few people in white coats appeared with a stretcher. They quickly lifted the player onto the stretcher and covered him with a white sheet. It all happened too fast to even blink. Soon, the system made another announcement. Player number 93, experience value reduced to 0. Eliminated, debt, 1 million. A lot of players were eliminated over the broadcast today. The numbers were dropping like flies. I need to find suitable allies and form a team that can stand up to those shameless bullies. Faces I had observed over the past few days flashed through my mind. A few figures came into focus. It was a small group of 6. The leader was the sharp-looking number 1 player. The other members each had their own unique traits. They were all physically strong guys. I found them in the arrivals hall. I watched them for a while and noticed they weren't in good shape. One of the guy's lips were already chapped, and another was constantly licking his. It was obvious they were dehydrated. This was my chance. Carrying a luxury shopping bag, I walked up to them. Hi, my name is Li Chuan. Player number 66. I'd like to join your team. Number 48 stood up and looked at me warily. Go away, we're not recruiting. I held out the bag. Inside were 3 bottles of water. Everyone's eyes lit up. I said frankly, I have a safe water source that can provide the team with basic drinking water. In exchange, I want to join your group and share your food. How much water do you have? If we're careful, it's enough for one of us to last the remaining 3 days, no problem. No problem, the sharp player 33 interjected, his eyes searching. I refused flatly. You just need to know that I have a way to get water. And that I'm willing to share it with the team. That's all, only I can know where the water is stored. That's my trump card. Number 48 looked back and exchanged a quick glance with his teammates. Alright, Li Chuan, welcome to the team. I'm Lu Mo. If you join our team, the rule is you can never, ever betray your teammates. Number 48 finally made his decision. He extended his hand to me. I nodded. Pleasure doing business with you. The dawn of the 6th day didn't bring hope, but a deeper despair. I went to the security checkpoint area alone, hoping to get some more water. But I saw 5 security guards standing there, staring intently at the trash can. It seems the system has blocked this route too. The last stable water source was gone. The players who had endured extreme thirst all day yesterday couldn't resist drinking water from the bathroom. The virus took them down. They were eliminated from the game. Just then, the airport broadcast blared without any warning. Public chat was instantly flooded with despair and curses. This stupid system just wants us all to end up in debt. We've all been tricked by it. First, it shut off the water sources. And now it's making players fight each other. It's too devious. Everyone, calm down. Going to T3 is a suicide mission. Soon, panic began to spread among the team. Wu Qi's team had the most members. They were the most likely to get the emergency supply crate. Now, with only 5 people left, and Wu Kai holding 25 spots, it meant that the remaining 20 people, unless their stats miraculously increased, would face mass elimination by nightfall. We absolutely cannot let that shameless bastard get the emergency supply crate. Lu Mo's gaze fell on me. Li Chuan, you tell me, how does a poor soul turn the tables in a no-win situation like this? The way of the underdog has never been to fight head-on. It's about exploiting loopholes, finding weaknesses, and creating chaos. Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. The first emergency supply crate has spawned. Terminal T3, Level B2, Employee Lounge. Sure enough, the sound of footsteps approached from the distance. Wu Qi's team was moving in a massive group towards T3. Lu Mo prepared to lead his team. We can't let them get there first. Wait, I grabbed him. The location is the Employee Lounge. Do you realize what that place means? I said, pausing for effect. The first supply crate is definitely a trap. Whoever gets there first will be eliminated. The system shut down the free water fountains and sent security guards to watch the trash cans. It's constantly reinforcing the NPC rule, the unbreakable law that you can't defy them. The employee area is a restricted zone. Regular players can't get in. If you try to force your way in, the system will definitely rule it as an illegal intrusion and eliminate you on the spot. So, will Wu Kai send his people to force their way in? I don't think he will. I sent Azzy and Xiaomin to scout out the situation. They sent word back. Just as I thought, Wu Kai didn't let his team continue towards the restricted area. Instead, he split his forces to guard the roads leading to the employee lounge. His strategy is a blockade, preventing anyone else from getting it. But he won't touch that hot potato himself, either. As long as the other players can't get the supplies, his team will still have the advantage. There were a few solo players lingering at the edges, their eyes filled with desperation and madness. Their stats must be at rock bottom. They're guaranteed to be eliminated tonight. People like that are the easiest to use. Hiding behind a pillar, I whispered to my teammates. The keycard for the employee lounge is in the fire cabinet right over there. For real? Do you think the system put it there on purpose? Keep it down. Wu Qi's people are guarding the door now. We'll wait for the right moment to go get the keycard. The solo player standing in front of the pillar happened to overhear. He was instantly juiced up. He lunged for that fire cabinet. Stop him. Wu Kai gave the order, but it was too late. The player yanked open the fire cabinet's glass door. There was no keycard in there at all. He had triggered the alarm. A piercing fire alarm instantly blared throughout the entire B2 floor. Almost at the same time, 6 fully equipped security guards holding anti-riot forks appeared out of nowhere. The scene instantly erupted into chaos. The guards didn't care who opened the fire cabinet. Wu Qi's team, along with the player who opened the cabinet, were all shoved out with the anti-riot forks. The elimination broadcast came right after. Wu Kai lost 5 people in an instant. His team was down to 20 people, and they didn't get the supply box. They walked away with nothing. At that moment, the second supply box was unlocked. The second emergency supply box has spawned at the T3 terminal, LB3 level, entrance to the VIP lounge. The entrance to the VIP lounge usually has a dedicated concierge desk and service personnel. The environment is more upscale, and the security is much tighter. From a distance, we observed that the elevator to the L3 VIP area was already being guarded by Wu Qi's men, and on a coffee table in the VIP lounge hall. That silver supply box was impossible to miss. What do we do? This time it'll be hard to even get close, Xiaomin said anxiously. I handed my phone to her. Take this to the lost and found. Why do you want me to take your stuff to the lost and found? Xiaomin asked in surprise. If I tell you to go, just go. I urged her on. Xiaomin took my phone to the lost and found. Half an hour later, I arrived at the lost and found. I feigned anxiety and asked, I've lost a cell phone and a VIP lounge card while I was wandering around the airport. I had also staked out the VIP lounge before, hoping to find something to eat. I had watched the travelers going in. They all swiped a black VIP card to get in. In an airport this big, I refused to believe that no one had ever dropped a VIP card. I described the phone and the VIP card to the staff member. The staff member actually came back with my phone and a VIP card. Are these the items? Yes, yes, yes. That's them. I excitedly took the phone and the card. Thank you, Xiaowu. Hold on, you'll need to provide some proof, Xiaowu. While they distracted the staff, I seized the chance to unlock the phone with my face. And I secretly took a picture of the card. After I did all that, I showed it to the staff member. See, my face can unlock the phone. The VIP card. I just happened to have taken a picture of it. After the staff confirmed everything was correct, they let me go. I walked to the VIP reception desk, just as a group of travelers was heading to the VIP lounge. There was a special little cart to take them to the gate. I took the opportunity and hopped on. Sitting among the other travelers, I dodged Wu Qi's spies. Just like that, I boldly rode right up to the VIP lounge entrance. The security guard took the card, swiped it through the machine, and a green light came on. Welcome, Platinum member, please come in. But Wu Kai, who had been watching the VIP lounge the whole time, suddenly shouted, that card must be stolen. I cursed inwardly. That fatty is so treacherous. Lu Mo took our people and clashed with Wu Qi's men at the elevator entrance. 6 against 10 wasn't too much of a disadvantage. Taking advantage of the chaos, I quickly slipped through the glass doors. I got the supply box. The system's voice was like music to my ears. Congratulations to number 66 for obtaining the supply box. The items inside the box can only be used by players designated by number 66. Unauthorized takers cannot use them. The third emergency supply box has now spawned on top of the central information desk in Terminal T3. It was an open, completely exposed platform. No restricted zones, no traps, no VIP rules. It was a battleground of pure strength and speed. Wu Kai decisively gave up the fight and had his team quickly move to the information desk. With no one guarding the VIP lounge entrance anymore, I walked out holding the box. I opened it. It was full of supplies, enough for the 7 of us to eat and drink for a day. As long as we replenished our 3 stats, there was no way we could be eliminated tonight. Li Chuan, we owe you big time for this one. The other players were rushing towards the 3rd box. We stayed put, frantically replenishing our energy. For the last box, Wu Kai completely dropped his disguise, revealing his most naked aggression. The remaining players clashed head-on with Wu Qi's teammates, getting beaten to a bloody pulp. In the end, Wu Qi's side still had more people and gained the upper hand. Our team watched the show from a distance. Lu Mo said, "They're getting battered. 1 box isn't enough to resupply all of Wu Qi's teammates, and the first box was too hard to get. I reckon his team is in trouble this round." The system's cold countdown ticked away silently. At 11:50 p.m., the atmosphere in the terminal was tense to the breaking point. System calculation beginning, based on the combined rankings of hunger, thirst, and energy levels. Following 20 players with the lowest stats will be eliminated. The cold electronic voice emotionlessly read out the numbers one by one. Besides our team of 7, all the other independent players were eliminated, even people on Wu Qi's team. Because of 1 box and the unequal distribution of supplies, only 13 people remained in the end. As soon as the broadcast ended, the entire airport fell into a dead silence. 20 people, 1 million each. That meant a total prize pool of 20 million. But if you eliminated all other players, the final winner would take that 20 million plus 100 million, for a total of 120 million. That number was enough to drive anyone insane. Wu Kai stared at us from a distance, a bloodthirsty glint in his eyes. He licked his lips and said to his teammates, "I don't want to see us hurting each other, but our team has the advantage in numbers. We take out the other 7 players, and then the 13 of us split the 1.2 billion prize money. This is the safest plan for our side." His lonely eyes grew grave. "Everyone, stay calm. Don't fall for the system's trap. Wu Qi's team will definitely stick together to kill us all first. So we can't turn on each other, the 7 of us. We'll take out those 13 people, and then split the 120 million prize money. This is the best plan for now." Pang Ding collapsed to the ground. "How can we kill them? We're outnumbered. Right now, we're just lambs to the slaughter. Let's find a place to hide first and split them up." I have a suggestion. I know a place. A piercing alarm blared, but it wasn't coming from any speakers. Instead, it poured directly into our minds. The NPC travelers, who were bustling just a second ago. The staff and the security guards all vanished without a trace. In the enormous Terminal T3, only the 20 of us players remained. Run, the survival instinct overpowered fear. The 7 of us bolted and ran for our lives. The moment we got into the elevator, I desperately mashed the close door button. The elevator doors closed on Wu Qi's grimacing face. "Damn it, don't let them get away. Eliminate them, the money is ours." The elevator descended rapidly, taking us to the underground parking garage. Here, a wave of hot, humid air smelling of gasoline and dust washed over us. We scattered immediately, like frightened rats, each looking for cover. Almost the very next second after we were hidden, Wu Kai and his men charged into the garage from the emergency staircase. 20 players hiding in the vast parking lot. As long as I can just stall for time, I still have a chance to survive. I held my breath, pressing myself against the ground like a cold stone, and watched what was going on outside through the narrow gap under a car. Player number 9 has been killed by a player. 1 million has been transferred to the killer's account. Who the hell was it? Who killed him? Was it one of us? Then, the sound of another fight erupted, along with Pang Ding's tragic screams. A moment later, an announcement came that Pang Ding had been eliminated. The players were scattered across the garage, with screams ringing out every now and then. The broadcast kept announcing player eliminations. Number 21 was eliminated by someone on their own side. The scene descended into further chaos as suspicion ran rampant among the players. Trust was on the verge of collapse. Then came another announcement from the anonymous broadcaster. "Go and kill Wu Kai. He's the last game's champion. He's holding 200 million in prize money. Eliminate him and split the 200 million. This news instantly ignited the garage. What, Wu Kai? He's the previous champion? No wonder he's so good. Damn it, we've been played. Wu Kai quickly tried to explain, "Don't listen to that anonymous person's nonsense. I'm a first-timer, just like all of you." But by then, no one believed him. In the face of such a huge prize, all reason collapsed in an instant. We'll know if there's 200 million once we kill him. Get him, get him. Free for all erupted again. This time, everyone saw red. They were slaughtering each other madly for the rumored 200 million prize. During the chaos, I found an unlocked SUV. Quietly slipping into the dark space of the trunk, the melee erupted again. This time, everyone's eyes were red, savagely fighting for that legendary $200 million prize. Taking advantage of the chaos, I found an unlocked SUV and quietly slipped into the dark space of the trunk. I curled up into a ball, peeking through a crack in the trunk. Listening to the endless screams and system announcements coming from outside, the minutes and seconds ticked by, and the sounds from outside grew fainter and fainter. Until at a certain moment, the garage fell completely silent. Cautiously peeked out through the crack, only to see wreckage strewn all over the ground. At that very moment, a familiar voice called out. Li Chuan, where are you? It was Lu Mo's voice. I've caught Wu Kai, come out quickly, we can kill him together. And we can split the 200 million. Through the crack, I saw Lu Mo had Wu Kai tied up tightly. I held my breath, not daring to answer him. Lu Mo walked past the front of my car. I was just secretly breathing a sigh of relief when, the next second, the trunk was violently thrown open. Blinding red light flooded in instantly. So, you were hiding here. You really made me look for you. You really made me search. The game of hide and seek is over, number 66. Lu Mo's voice was filled with a sickening mockery. An icy fear instantly gripped my heart. Lu Mo grabbed me in a death grip and dragged me out of the trunk. But you two really were a team. The so-called chase, the so-called team competition, it was all a charade you two put on. Your goal was to use the rules, to get others to do your dirty work and eliminate all the players who were in your way. So that in the end, only the two of you would be left to split all the prize money. You're both familiar with the game's rules. You used anonymous identities to trick players into robbing and overspending, then you reaped the rewards. You knew the last day would be an all-out brawl, so Wu Kai started building a team from the very beginning. Meanwhile, Lu Mo deliberately positioned himself as Wu Qi's opponent, making it easier for the two teams to slaughter each other on the final day. So you two could profit. A mocking smile played on Lu Mo's face. Li Chuan, you're very smart. Thanks for everything these past few days. Wu Kai finally lost his patience, roaring as he struggled, Old Lu. Old Lu, untie me. Why are you wasting time talking to him? Just send him on his way. Lu Mo gave Wu Kai an indifferent look. Untie you? Are you kidding? Splitting 100 million isn't nearly as satisfying as taking it all for myself. Besides, the 200 million you accumulated in the last round should be mine, too. With that, he eliminated him in a single move. Lu Mo then sneered, oh, and I forgot to tell you. I was the one who sent that last anonymous message. Player number 44 eliminated. Easter egg announced. Player number 44 was the previous champion. Accumulated prize of 200 million has been transferred to the hunter's account. At that moment, Lu Mo was admiring his prize. This is my chance. I suddenly sprayed the high-strength hairspray at Lu Mo's face. A large, sticky glob shot accurately onto Lu Mo's face. Lu Mo let out a piercing scream. He clutched his face, stumbling backward. Bent over in pain, I scrambled towards the driver's seat. When I was hiding earlier, I'd already confirmed that not only was the trunk of this car unlocked, but the driver's side door was unlocked too, and the key was right there in the ignition. Lu Mo screamed, number 66, I'm going to flay you alive. He ignored the pain and lunged at me like an enraged lion. The dagger grazed my head and stabbed deep into the leather of the driver's seat. My fingers felt the cold key, and I twisted it hard. Vroom. The engine let out a low growl. It roared to life in an instant, and I slammed it into gear at the same time. Using every ounce of my strength, I stomped my right foot down on the gas pedal. Lu Mo never saw the car suddenly starting. The massive impact sent his body flying into the air. He then landed limply on the ground, but he still tried to get back up. I shifted into reverse and drove towards him. Before long, the system issued its final announcement, Player 48 eliminated. Announcing Easter egg, Player 48 was the previous round's champion, with a cumulative prize of 180 million. It has been transferred to the hunter's account. Current surviving players. 1. Congratulations to player number 66 for successfully surviving to the very end. Becoming the sole champion of this round of Airport Maze, player 66 wins this round's prize money of 130 million plus 200 million plus 130 million, for a total of 500 million. Struggled to climb out of the driver's seat, covered in grease and dust. There was no wild joy, only a bone-deep exhaustion, and the utter collapse that comes after surviving a disaster. The crimson lights slowly faded. The alarms stopped. A flash of white light. I appeared again in the initial void of the game world, the system's whisper in my ear. You now have 500 million in prize money. Stay alive, but according to the rules, the champion cannot quit the game, or they will be in debt for 500 million. The white light gradually faded, and I saw that I was surrounded by people. Their eyes were wide, looking around at their surroundings with shock and uncertainty. Welcome, 100 players, to the Paupers game. Initial funds, 50 yuan. Objective: survive in the game for 7 days.